Hey everyone, this is the Gadget Guru. This is going to be basically a hype talk, and it's not about a single card or anything. It's more about the decks of this right now and the last Shonen. You know, as you know, the last Shonen was made up of three decks primarily: Infernities, GB, and X Saber. They were everywhere. There were some random ones. There was a Frog OTK. There was a Frog Monarch. There was a Magical Explosion OTK. There was a Hail to Perfection deck. There was two or three gadgets. There was like a couple random decks, but um, the overall decks were like 6 to 8 Infernities, like 8 um, X Sabers, and like I don't know, like 8 GB. There was a lot of each of them, and people were kind of saying, well, what do you think about this format? Like everyone's saying, what I've heard from the hype I'm talking about is everyone's hyping Infernities. They're saying Infernities are the next Teledad. They're unbeatable, blah blah blah. Well, they're not unbeatable, obviously, since they didn't win the Shonen. Um, but are they a top deck? Very, very much so. Infinities are a very good deck, honestly. Infinities, X Sabers, and GBs are all good in this format. GB, I was actually surprised. I didn't think it'd have the speed to keep up, but I guess they had enough. I guess they had enough control in the GB deck to actually, get past the opponent's stuff. So, props to them. Um, Overall, I think that Infinities are being hyped a little too much. Yes, they're really good, but Twister, Space, and Crow, or Crevice in a Different Dimension, absolutely wreck the deck. So, I think they're being hyped a little too much. Should you have some side deck tech against them? Obviously. As for X Sabers, X Sabers are an amazing deck right now. They're just an amazing overall control deck. I mean, they got tons of special. They got searching. They got synchros that are really good. You can control the hand. They can blow up to 3 cards in the back row. They've got all kinds of access to crazy stuff. So I mean, they're going to be a good deck. Even side decking a Gob's Emergency Call to try and use their monsters on them is a decent idea. It's not a bad idea. It honestly isn't. But the whole idea that X Sabers are unstoppable, not true. I mean, they're a good deck, but I just thought Guy just beat them, so. A lot like everyone was like, well, why didn't we see a lot of Machinas if they're so good this format? And the honest opinion, in my opinion, why you didn't see Machinas is because there probably wasn't that many there. A lot of people there were running X Sabers, GB, and Infinity because they thought that's what was going to win. And I mean, if enough people run it, that is what eventually will win because you have so many people running it. I'm not really counting the top 32. I mean, yes, top 32 of the Shonen is good. I'm not saying it's not. I'm going to try and go off the top 16, more or less. And a lot of people have been asking me, what do I think about burn decks in this format? And Frog, the Reverend Toad Mass Driver combo deck, along with the Magical Explosion OTK deck that topped. People ask me, well, do you think that's a threat? Is it a threat? Somewhat, but at the same time, they're not very stable. I've seen people run these, and they're a fun deck and everything, but they're not stable. I'm surprised they've got to top 16. I mean, I would have guessed they would probably do really good. Basically, those people got really lucky. That's what it boils down to: really lucky or stacked. I'm not saying they did stack. I'm saying it's a possibility. So, if you want my overall opinion, do I think burn decks are gonna be good this format? Frog Burn is fun, but I don't think it's very stable. Magical Explosion, it's a little more stable than Frogs, but still, it's just like a simple decree or a bribe or anything will just shut your entire deck down. Like, if they go first and they set one negation card, your Magical Explosion is useless and you lose the game. So, at the same time, it is fun and cool. It's just like, I don't think it will do very good in the long run. And a lot of people ask why there was no Dandy Warrior in the top 16, because last Shonen, the Shonen before last, Dandy Warrior was crazy. It was just like, everyone was like, oh my god, Dandy Warrior is amazing, blah, blah, blah. Honestly, I think why Dandy Warrior was so good at first is because A, everybody was running it, and B, nobody saw it coming. I know a lot of people were running it, a lot of good players were running it, in fact, the Shonen Before Last, and honestly, it was a really new deck idea. I mean, people like saw Dandelion go to the grave. They're like, okay, Dandelion's in the grave. What do I care? 2 tokens. You summon Quick Draw. Okay, what are you summoning? You know, they summon Drill Warrior, and they're thinking, okay, it's a Drill Warrior. And then they learn that they can't Bottomless it or Torrential it, and it just keeps recycling Dandelions for Lad and all kinds of crazy crap like that. And they're like, oh wow, this is abusive. Or better yet, it recycles Lone Fire. You know, just when it goes back during the sale price, get Lone Fire back, grab a Titanium, get Lone Fire back, grab something else, get Lone Fire back, grab something else. It's a very good thing. It's a very good combo. But in my opinion, I think Dandy Warrior is still good, but it just lost its whole appeal. I mean, there's a lot of better decks now, and people know that, so they're not going to be running it too much. I expect, as I said, this regionals I am going to be playing, and people have been asking me what I expect to see at regionals. I'm expecting Infernities, which I have a good side deck for. You know, I've got a bunch of cards that pretty much kill Infernities. Oppression, Fossil Dyna, but for side deck tech I've got 3 DD Crow, 3 Twister, 1 Space, and 3 Prohibition. That's all. I would put all that in against Infernities because all that will wreck Infernities. As for GBs, I can pretty much beat GBs with my hand stab behind my back. I mean, it's a counter gadget. GBs get wrecked against me. Am I expecting to see some? Oh yeah, I'm guaranteeing like 1 to 2 GB matchups because GB is a good deck. I think I'll have it handled pretty easily. I might have a little trouble, but between Prohibitions, Fossil Dyna, Oppression, Bottomless, all that kind of stuff, Deep Prisons, I think I'll have it covered. Machina gadgets, I do expect to see a lot of those. And for those, I have Prohibitions, DD Crows, and System Downs. I do expect to see quite a few Machina gadgets at my regionals. And all the playtesting of things Machina gadgets so far says that I pretty much destroy them. I mean, yeah, they're good decks, but I have a lot of ways to stop what they do. Another deck I am worried about actually is Synchro Cat. Synchro Cat is a good deck, especially against my counter gadget. It has so many options that it really does annoy me. Although thankfully against them, I do have 3 Prohibition, 2 Null Mana Crossout. You know, that really helps against Synchro Cat. And if they're using the Flamvell kind of build, I've got 3 Crows to go with it. So it all depends on their build, but I'm definitely not leaving out any concern for it. I mean, it is a good deck, and I'm expecting to face it. As for people asking me about what about like Frog OTK, it's just like I've got 3 Prohibition, Space, Triple Twister, DD Crow. I mean, like literally that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I would side 12 cards in against them, against a Frog OTK with like Mass Driver. So I think I've got that pretty much covered. Same with Infinity OTK. The Infinity deck that only does OTK. That's the whole purpose. There's a lot of decks I could verse, but overall I think I'm gonna verse the ones I've mentioned. But I'm trying to build my side deck for anything, and so far my deck has been playtesting great. I mean, it's topped every locals I've had. In playtesting, I'm playtesting friends who are also going and playing, and I'm beating them over and over and over and over and over. And it's to the point where my friends don't even want to play this deck because they're tired of it, like basically beating them. So I think it's doing really well. I'm really proud of the deck. I've gone through the cards and situations over and over and over. I've considered many different possibilities for the deck. I think it's just gonna come down to luck. Like, do I draw good hands and stuff? Because that's what it comes down to in the end. But I am confident in my deck right now. It's working really nice. It's doing exactly what I want it to do. It's shutting down other opponents' decks, and it works. So this has just been kind of a hype thing about the new decks of the format stuff. No, there's no Teledad decks. I mean, there are good decks, but there's none that are just above all the other ones. So this has been the Gadget Guru, and I'll talk to y'all later. Alright, bye.